or an exaggeration. Few people would ever guess that despite my many blessings I've received in over 30 years as a ballerina, most of my young life was spent pining for something that you all have and I don't. A diploma from the Ateneo de Manila University. You see, I come from a certified Blue Eagle family. My father, his brother, and my siblings all graduated from the Ateneo, with all 4 men in my family in the honors class since their elementary grades. Although I married a magna cum laude from Harvard. I'm sorry. My husband made sure that I stuck it in there somewhere. When I was 17, fresh out of high school, I found myself standing at a crossroad in my life. I was accepted in both the Ateneo and the UP for college. But I decided to go to Russia instead and pursue my dream of becoming a ballerina in the toughest ballet school in the world as a cultural scholar of the former Soviet Union. Given this opportunity, the diploma would have to wait. I struck a deal with my parents. I gave myself 2 years to devote to dancing, which was my first love. If it didn't work out, I promised I would go back to school and become an accountant, which is what my grandparents wanted me to be. That was the first big deadline I've ever set for myself. When I told my parents I wanted to study ballet in Russia instead of enrolling in college like everyone else, my father's reaction was, and I quote, "What? So you will become a dancer and only learn to count to 8 for the rest of your life?" My mom, on the other hand, was very supportive. She herself wanted to become a ballerina, but was forced to stop when a ban in the 1950s prohibited girls from Catholic schools to dance ballet. My grandparents, well, they still wanted me to become an accountant. My dad probably thought I would find life in Russia so hard that I would hurry back home anyway, so finally he relented. I left right after my 18th birthday and was assigned to the 7th year level of the Russian Ballet Academy in St. Petersburg. It was 1982, and the first snow had just fallen when our plane touched down in what was then a bastion of communism. In a way, my father was right. That first year in Russia was indeed the hardest year of my life. It was a life that was filled with change and adaptation, a new culture, new language, new dogmas, a new method of ballet training, new weather conditions. Then eventually I had to make new friends and satisfy new mentors. Beginnings are difficult. But I stayed. Sometimes being stubborn has its rewards. There were many days in those cold ballet studios in the dead of winter when my body was ready to collapse from sheer exhaustion, and it was just my stubborn will that pushed me to continue doing those drills again and again, day in and day out. Even in the many nights when I cried myself to sleep from homesickness or from the soreness of an injury, the pain was gently but obstinately pushed aside the minute I focused on my dream. The dream of becoming not just a ballerina, but the best ballerina I could ever become. I substituted the occasional feelings of helplessness and anxiety with visions of achieving that dream. This plus an attitude of gratitude, an overwhelming sense of appreciation for being exactly where I was, and the miracle of how I even got there. Despite the many sacrifices, being in Russia was a great blessing, and I survived by putting all my energy in practicing, learning, and following directions as I was being mentored in the very difficult Russian Vaganova system of classical ballet training. I was like a horse with blinders. Nothing else mattered but my art. The discipline first shaped my mind and my spirit. Then my body eventually followed. Not only did I stay to finish the 2 years of ballet training, I stayed on for two more, that is. This time as the first foreigner to be invited as an artist of the 250-year-old Kirov Ballet. This was where that crossroad of my life has brought me. The journey was challenging, but it was well worth it because I pursued a path that brought me closer to my heart's calling. And when your heart speaks to you, you can never go wrong because your heart never lies. And it will push you to go forward and excel because at a certain point, your dream becomes like oxygen. You need it to breathe. You need it to grow. You need it to live. However, in today's world, the standards of success have become a bit more complicated. You can't just drill. You need to create. You can't just learn. You need to innovate. You can't just follow. You need to lead. Today, you find yourself in that same crucial intersection in life that I myself crossed many years ago. What can I tell you now that will make your next steps easier, if not more meaningful? My father was right in saying that ballet dancers are drilled to count to 8. It is in these classic 8 counts that a segment of movement is born. Then we start all over again with 1. From this repetitive drill, choreography is born. So they actually serve as building blocks for creating something new and creative. In this fashion, allow me to share with you my own 8 counts, which I hope would serve as helpful references as you find your own rhythm and direction in life. First count. Decide and commit to something that you are passionate about. The earlier you do this, the better. Make a decision, not just on what you want to do and what you want to achieve in the next few years, but try to picture where you want to be 20 years from now. This was something my father taught me. He was a very wise and logical man. After all, he was Atenean, right? When I was 15, he made me write a list of what I wanted to be and should have done by the age of 35. I came up with the following: to get a degree from the Ateneo and become a teacher, to dance all the classical ballerina roles at least once in my career, to own and operate my own ballet studio, to have my own family and become a mom. I committed myself to these long-term goals alongside my short-term ones, and looking back, I seem to have done everything before I reached the age of 35, except for the first one. But wait, since I am a ballet teacher, I guess that it's just a matter of getting that diploma now. Second, no pain, no gain. I cannot overemphasize this point. Nothing can take the place of hard work, not even talent. As they say, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. When my own daughter told me she wanted to become a ballerina, a part of me was excited for her and pleased that I could help her achieve her dream. But part of me was also screaming, no, because I wanted to protect her from all the blood, the sweat, the tears that she would have to go through in order to achieve her dreams.